life full of fun.
Hey guys, ready to do some cooking? Little Italian cooking with Joe. We're gonna make today pesto. Oh, I love pesto. So pesto traditionally is from northern Italy, and you're gonna see that it's made with sweet basil. So you're gonna want about 3 cups or so of sweet basil. You're gonna want about 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. You don't wanna be too much garlic, if you will. I always like a little bit more garlic, so anywhere from 1 to 3 cloves is kind of what you want. You're gonna want some sea salt. Now I've got some French sea salt in there, about a half of a teaspoon. And we got about a 1/4 cup of pine nuts. And then we're gonna want some high quality olive oil. We're gonna want some pepper. Why in this ingredient mixture, and where does pesto come from? As I said, pesto comes from northern Italy. What's really neat is in the northern regions of Italy, this is what was around. So when you study the Italian culture, you're going to see that pretty much everything they ate was what was around. And what's beautiful about Italy is that when you go to different areas of Italy, you're going to find a certain food or a certain style of food, or certainly a certain style of cooking is unique to that area, which is beautiful of Italy. And they still retain so much of that, which is it's wonderful to travel through Italy, because you'll be in the same country up north. You're going to see a lot of rice dishes and risotto and rice pudding. Oh, rice pudding, funny I say that. That's what we got cooking right here on our next video. So you've got rice dishes and rice pudding, and then southern Italy, obviously you're going to see a lot more of the pastas. In the middle of Italy, you're going to see a lot of meats, because that's where they tended to have a lot of different types of animals. And those animals, obviously, they would eat. So it's just wonderful to kind of learn the history of it. I want to do a quick shout out to my buddy Al Crawford. Al Crawford, one of our big fans here on Cooking Italian with Joe. So I told him that I would certainly say hi to him, and I'm going to make sure he gets a good taste of our pesto today. So nice and fresh. So you got to do a mortar and pestle. And what's neat with the pesto is pesto actually comes from an Italian word, which is like padre, to pound. So you actually pound things. I see a lot of people make pesto in a food processor. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I understand that, you know, time is of the essence many times in today's lifestyle. But here's the challenge. When you cut, like cutting grass, think of that. When you cut the leaf of pesto, it cuts the leaf. It doesn't smash it, and there's little cells in there. So when you pound it, what happens is it releases a lot more of the flavors, the aroma of the pesto, and it's definitely a better way to start. So all right, so how do you start with pesto? Real simple. We're going to start with our pine nuts. Okay, we're going to start with our salt. Now the salt is great. Certainly you want to mix it in as a base. You want it to dissolve. Okay, and it acts as a friction to break everything apart. And then you're going to want your garlic, okay? And essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to mix that together to form a paste. I'm going to put 2 or 3 cracks of fresh ground pepper. Only way to go. You guys having fun yet? And this is how we get started. Now listen, the general rule is you want to start like getting in there and smashing it. And I get that, but it ends up all over. So Italy, traditionally you're going to see a white marble base, and you're going to have your hammer usually is a wooden hammer. Was kind of how they did it. I'm not saying that's wrong. I just love when you're using granite on granite. It just makes it a lot faster. So, and I'll tell you right now, ooh, it smells good. And what you're going to form right now is a paste. You're going to form a nice thick paste. So we'll keep whacking it here, and if I can get my lovely camera assistant can get in there. You see how what we're doing in here is it's just going to form a paste, that's all. And we'll hit this for, it's probably going to take you 2 to 3 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll go around and just mash it, and then you'll start to see it'll lose everything kind of loses its individual shape and starts to become part of the mess. You'll notice here I used a towel underneath, because if not, it's, you know, you get a headache from pounding it. And I don't know if you guys can tell the muscularity of my arm right here, but that's because I make a lot of pesto. Probably not. One of the things we were talking about is, you know, I get a lot of emails. People say, geez, how do you eat all that food? I'll tell you what, make it. You start making pesto and rolling out pasta dough, and boy, that gets tiring. That's a lot of work. My grandmother would tell me stories when she came from northern Italy. She would they would wash her laundry on the side of the river. So she actually would wash it on rocks. So when you see that, and I know some people in certain areas of the world today, they do that, but my grandmother would do that. So then she had a wringer out in one of the farms, so that she would actually take water from the well, pump the well, fill it up, wash it, and then she would wring it rather than smash it on the rocks. And then obviously as time went on and they could afford luxuries that we consider now, I mean, who would think of doing that in their house now, right? So that's making a really nice paste. Now that's going to be a little bit, not necessarily salty, but so you're going to muddle it. Muddle it means you're going to mix it like this, okay, which we're going to do a lot with the olive oil. And now what I do is as I muddle it, just to give you a heads up, you're going to see parts of it that aren't done yet. And now you can you can get in there a little bit more because it's, oh, that's nice. Because it's a paste, so it's not going to splatter back at you now, okay? You just keep getting in there. And if you can get in there with my camera real quick, you see how it's starting to break up there? And it almost looks like peanut butter, you know? And you'll find that if you can, I know a lot of people can't, but if you can, try to get the Italian or European, Spanish or Italian pine nuts. They tend to be a heavier oil and they're richer. Why is that? Because what's really interesting when you study a lot of about grapes and olives and a lot of the different plants like nuts, what happens is the earth is in Italy is a much deeper, richer, high in nutrients, if you will, the soil. So it changes the flavor of the food, certainly. And then what also happens is the older the plant, the root structure becomes more complicated. It becomes more dense. So it's actually able to grab different nutrients from the ground, from the soil, and it obviously becomes more of the food. And so it's neat because I asked a lot of those questions when I was over in Italy doing several different tours. Like, why are you looking for a certain root structure? Why is a young plant not give out the flavors that you want, let's say in a wine or an olive? So, you get this beautiful olive oil from California, which is great, but you go to Puglia or Greece, for that matter, I mean, those olive trees are hundreds of years old, hundreds. So their root structure is different, and they're able to extract a certain flavor from the soil that you can't match it. You can't match it. So, so something to think about if you get a chance. High quality olive oil, true high quality olive oil, or a good wine, obviously made from like a Tuscany Italian wine or a French wine. I mean, they're going to be, they're a little bit more money, but that's why. Those they put in years and years of growth, maturity into those vines. So. Okay, so we're almost done. So I'm going to have you take one more look at this. Okay. And now see how it's like a peanut butter, right? And you want to get any of those large pieces. You want to get them out. And you can see it. See, there's a little piece of garlic left. So just keep smashing. We're almost done. What's nice is if a loved one in your house is starting to tick you off a little bit, you can think of them during the pesto phase, muddle, smash, think about what they were talking about, pesto them, if you know what I mean, padre them, as you would, which means to pound, capiche? All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our, I don't know about you guys, but basil, I love it. Basil, rosemary, just such wonderful flavors. So you know what I'm gonna do? I just noticed I had one little piece there. Oh, that's like a garlic nut sauce. That's not a bad thing right there. We might have just invented something. All right, so now we're gonna take the leaves. Now I have some people say, well, you add a little bit, and, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna show you how I do it. Which means you're just gonna mush it all in there, okay? Now what's funny is it looks like it takes up a lot of space or volume, right? And the little basil leaves, those are the best. The big ones are good, but the little ones are awesome, okay? And then what you're gonna do is I tend to muddle it first just to kind of flatten out the leaf. And then you want all the other things in there, the other ingredients in there, because everything incorporates itself within it. Okay? There it goes. And it just starts to mash down already. Oh, that's nice. And you know, you'll see some recipes, they'll put a little bit more nut. We have a little higher pine nut content. Some people will like just a lot more of the basil and just a touch of it. But what I gave you in the proportions is really what's more traditional for Northern Italy. I never really got into pesto until I went to Northern Italy. I mean, it wasn't something my parents made or my grandparents did. Not that I never had it, but I certainly didn't understand it or appreciate it for what it was. And then when I went to Northern Italy, where the Borio family's from, my mother's from Southern Italy, and my God, you know, you start having this, and they use it everywhere. They use it on a spread for bread, which we're gonna do, by the way, a garlic bread. And you can use it on a sauce, which we made a homemade pesto, homemade pasta sauce, which we made a couple weeks ago. I brought over to a friend's house. It was gone in a matter of, I don't know, about an hour or so. All right, guys, it's been about 3.5 weeks, and I'm back. My forearm right now is pumped, man. I'm telling you right now. But this is good stuff. So if you can jump right in there, you got to just see that nice paste, and you muddle it. You know, it's just probably been 5 minutes, okay? So you muddle it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife, just scrape it off, and you see, like right there, this might be a couple of leaves that are a little bit bigger, which is fine. So we'll hammer those. Just look where they go, and then that's what I do. I take that knife, scrape it off to the side. Good, awesome. What we're going to do is you're essentially going to muddle in your olive oil, okay? So you're not going to be able to splash it. So I'm going to throw. I know where I want to go here, but you're going to do about 3/4 of a cup of olive oil, all right? And you're going to muddle it in. Now I've got my knife here, so I'm going to scrape that off. And I got one little tool I'm going to grab here in a minute. So we don't really need to, there you go, pound it. I'm going to use that knife, scrape it through, okay? And then just scrape the sides so you've got all the oil in there mixed. Now the goal here is to mix the oil, obviously, with your pesto, if you will, the nuts. My mouth is watering right now. Ooh, that's good. You got garlic, you got salt, you got pepper. Oh, I'll tell you, smell that? That is the smell of Italy right there. I'll tell you. Imagine being up on a beautiful summer day with a cool breeze up on the hillside, and your grandmother or your aunt, or you're fortunate enough to be on a tour, and somebody walks out with some fresh made pesto they just made in the kitchen. Oh my God. So if you can jump right in here on camera, and just take a look at that. See how you don't see oil floating. You see how the oil's incorporated within it? That's just fantastic. So now, in order to officially taste it, my little work surface here, let's grab this. All right. And my 50-pound, there it is. Woo! Mortar. And then what I've got here is just, I did not make this bread, okay? So I've got some freshly made today garlic bread. Oh, so just the smell of that is just fantastic, you know? And then I need my little spoon. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit of that, okay? And I'm going to spread that right over the top. Oh boy. Oh boy. For some reason I think I need a little more. So you got a high quality olive oil in there. Boy, look at that. Does that just look fantastic? I mean, that is Italy right there. Oh boy. Oh boy. Did I just do that on TV? I'm sorry. That is good. I shouldn't be eating over the pesto bowl. I should be eating over the plate. And I shouldn't be talking with my mouth open because my mother's going to watch this. So I'll tell you the flavor in that, you know, the nuts. What jumps out is the basil, because the basil's just got that aromatic type flavor. It's absolutely fantastic. And then you've got pine nuts and garlic and salt, and the mixture of that is perfect. Creates that beautiful paste. And right over the bread, you can toast the bread. You can throw that, like I said, on a pasta. It's traditionally added to like a linguine. Linguine is a little wider, so it tends to adhere to the linguine better than, let's say, a spaghetti or a capellini. Oh my God, it's fantastic. One more bite, one more bite. Holy mackerel. Right now I'm thinking a little bit of a white wine. Oh, little cheese, little slice of hard salami. Heaven, man, heaven. You guys love spending the weeks with you. Hopefully you're learning a little bit more, certainly sharing some great flavors and tastes of Italy. Tune in, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a website coming, we've got some great products coming. We've got towels and aprons, we've got olive wood, we got olive oil from my farm coming this year, so that's pretty exciting. And don't forget to like our Facebook page, certainly. And my family to your family, don't forget, family is the soul of life. Enjoy some time with your family. Spend even an afternoon for 15, 20 minutes or an hour making some pesto. Sit down and start those traditions, learn about your heritage, and pass that on to the next generation. Guys, it's been an honor spending a little time with you. I'll talk to you guys next week.